Say that again. Say that. Break that down for us real quick.
As I said, I am what we call concrete sequential.
Yes.
And she is like abstract random.
Yes.
Tell her what that means.
She just know how to be cute today.
You tell them, you do it.
Concrete sequential is everything is straight. They want everything in order. They organize everything. They keep lists, like that. Abstract random is, look at that last word. Random. I don't follow a pattern. I can't keep, if I make a list, I forget where I put the list. But I'll get it done. But I'm random. If I have to solve a problem, once problems presented to me, like 10 or 15 bubbles pop up, all types of solutions, and I just go picking them. But he goes one at a time.
Wow. Yeah, and really, how this works in marriage and marriages in general is I can deal with her abstract randomness. I had to learn to do that though, because I wanted everything, like she said, straight in a row, concrete, sequential, everything 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whereas she operates from her sphere of like 10, 15, 20, 9, and getting to 10, where I had to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to get there. Yeah. So what I wanted to say about that and why it's so important is because we do counseling with married couples, and we learned after all these years, we learned that this is something very powerful for marriages to understand. The differences in when you're dealing with relationships and individuals, you have to understand that you are not just like them and they are not just like you. But our vantage point, I would say, is that our love is so much stronger than most people's love.
Right.
It's
stronger than our differences.
And one of the couples we were counseling, I finally asked the question, what love has to do with it? The way they were acting. What shouldn't love mean something? And it turns out in our case, well, if anything don't work right, well, we love each other, so we'll just don't deal with everything else. So that's how we come to now. This is important that I wanted to share. Here's something that we came to know, and we now share in our counseling sessions. It's called fixed mindset versus growth mindset. If you want to read a book about it, it's called Mindset, and it's by a lady named Carol Dweck. She's a professor at Stanton University. And all of the principals in our county did a book chat on this particular element. And we find that fixed mindset is you learn that there are two mindsets from your parents, from your teachers, and coaches and people in your life. You learn that personal quality. These are personal qualities such as intelligence and ability, and they are innate, but they are unchangeable. They are unchangeable. You can change them. And the problem that marriages are having is that one may have a fixed mindset, and then the other one may have a growth mindset, or neither one of them may have a growth mindset. Growth mindset means that you believe the person can change. A fixed mindset means that you believe that that's the way you are, that's the way it's going to be. Your personal qualities such as intelligence, ability, you were born with it, and they are unchangeable. That's a fixed mindset, and that's not good for anybody, especially in the church world. Because if you don't think a person can change, then, well, you didn't change. but you don't believe somebody else can change, that means that a sinner cannot come to Christ. So it's very important, when it comes from that. But marriages need to look at this, because most marriages have problems communicating because one may think that the other one can't change. But you have to believe that they can change. The growth mindset is that you and others can change and you can grow. And that's regardless of what you go through, that's the growth mindset. And I'm not going to do a dissertation on that right now, but I wanted to share that before we start sharing with you something about our lives and how we got together. But I want you to understand that that's very important. you know, that you have a mindset that your mate can change, you know, because we got married in 1972 and we were unsaved married for 5 days. And that was when I was about to divorce her.
You're gonna get 2 stories, you all know that. You're gonna get his side and my side. So like weigh them, you'll know the truth.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Well, we're gonna start in, and you're gonna hear the 2 sides of the story, because being married 50 years means that when I was in diapers, she was running after me. What's your story?
I just want to add to what he was saying about that. Growth mindset means everyone can change. It means I can change also. Let's not leave ourselves. In other words, if I want things to work between us, whatever God decides for me, right? If he wants me to make some changes, I'll make some changes. You see, I don't have control over him. I can't hope to have him to be like Denzel, okay? No, but he, like for example, he cannot be serious. He cannot be serious. He cannot be serious.
Well,
He can't. Well, if he does it tonight, y'all recording this? If he breaks down and says
well, I'll
something.
tell you what. Tell them about how we met,
Okay, all right.
and we'll see whether I can be serious or not.
I know better. No, I mean, I was skating on Locust Avenue.
Hold it. It started way before that.
Okay, well, you tell that part.
I lived in the projects, right? And in the projects, they had this center called the Hank, you know, we were living in the projects. And they had this center called the Recreation Center. And they had these little girls from Georgetown. She lived in Georgetown. And I lived in Goldsboro. Goldsboro was like the ghetto. You know, we were ghetto. And she lived over in Georgetown, which was supposed to be like, you know.
Professionals, teachers,
Yeah,
doctors,
and all like
dentists.
that.
Okay.
So, but for some reason, they had these little girls to come over to the recreational center to take ballet dance, and they had on leotards. So me and these other little boys, we were peeping in the door, and we saw them at the little leotards. I saw she was one of them. You tell the rest of this.
No, but you picked me out, right?
I just saw you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, anyway, on Locust Avenue in Sanford, Hank, you remember we could skate on Locust? First it was Cypress Avenue, then when they paved Locust, we skated on Locust. We got our Union 5 skates, and we skated out there every Christmas. That's the first thing you wanted, Union 5s every Christmas. They attached to your shoe, you wound them up, you skated, and the guys grabbed all the cars when the cars passed by, and the cars would speed up, and the guys would sling trains and stuff. We just skating. I was kind of tomboyish, but I was tomboyish because I liked a challenge. I love physical activity. I love PE. I love play. I love to play. And I was out there skating, and he was standing there with a girl that he was trying to talk to.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't know.
There's 2 versions.
Tell the truth, shame the devil.
No, I was 10 years old. And I skated, he said, little girl, come here. I didn't know any better. I skated up to him, and like the big bad wolf he was, he looked at me and said, make me happy. He said that
He
to
wasn't saved.
He was.
Nephew, look at the nephew.
12 years old.
Still wasn't
He
saved.
was 12 years old. A wolf.
A wolf? She called him a wolf?
He was a wolf, a bad boy. I ran. I skated away. I was so mad.
Run, Ingrid, run.
Let's get some perspective on this.
It's like, make me happy.
Your grandpa. Well, you're over there, pal.
And he eventually did make me happy.
Well, I want to know this. Since she said it happened like that, how is it that I had to run from your dad? I had to run down the alley from your dad. Yeah, I got my pants leg caught in the bicycle spokes, running from her dad. And one time, I was running from her dad and fell in the cesspool around the house. Her dad had a big old funeral home. big house, and a cesspool around there, and I fell.
You're not gonna tell them. You're not gonna tell
That you was being fast?
Oh,
We already know that.
You don't tell me at all.
All right.
We knew you was being
Now
fast.
this, okay, I'm gonna set this straight.
Tell the whole story.
Now,
Sit us down.
if I don't have a boyfriend and I'm on the prowl and I'm looking for a boyfriend, I'm running him down. Okay, I'm on the prowl if that's like that. But that was never the case.
Okay.
The case was this. My parents didn't want me to have a boyfriend. They didn't want me to look at a boy. Whenever he called me, they would see, these were phones where, dial and you press the button and you ease up and eavesdrop. And they would eavesdrop. Once they heard a boy's voice, they start yelling and screaming, and I'd have to hang up.
So
and
that's
I'm
where
going-
y'all got that from, doing that stuff.
and they used to do, so my parents were real strict. They didn't want me to have a boyfriend. So
Mine
at
too.
school,
Mine were too.
I can relate. No,
Mine were too.
it was your dad, it's not your mom.
Mine were too. Cause you was a wolf.
Yes, your dad, yes. I knew how y'all girls were feeling, but you couldn't do nothing about it because your dad knew all the ropes. But anyway, my parents didn't want me to have a boyfriend. So when I agreed with him one day, okay, you can be my boyfriend. He started calling me. I couldn't see him, so I would call my friends, and I would go. I said, when you have your party, I'm coming. Ronnie's coming. I would go to parties where he would be there. Now that's not running him down.
Now that verifies. What
That was my.
He called it running after.
No, because he would tell me where the parties were, and me and my sister Pat, I pushed Pat up to ask because everybody would say yes to her. So if they said yes to Pat, we both would go to the party, and I would see him. Now, I wasn't running after him. I was just trying to see my boyfriend that I had. I don't chase men. I never have. Never will.
All right, so we're not gonna tell it all.
You ain't got no man chase.
No.
You
But
got one man.
but the reason he had to run, was, well, we met outside and smooched.
Being fast.
Yeah, in the garage.
So we conclude
But then-
that she was running after me.
No,
Now, we're gonna
no.
move to the high school period.
After we eat?
No.
No, wait. Now that was high school. In 12 years old, I was in 7th grade. So 7th graders went to school with the high schoolers. So he was 9th grade. That's how we met.
So when we changed classes, every time I looked, she was running behind me at
God.
Always at the right
Always,
time.
yeah.
No.
Just in the right place at the right time. You position
Listen, we know who we dealing with. You ain't got to defend yourself.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. Let's do this. All right, that was
I
high
told
school.
you, you can't be serious.
That was high school. Now, when we got to college, we went to separate colleges.
Yes.
I went to FAMU, and she went down to Florida Southern in Lakeland, and I think we kind of agreed, because she might have wanted to follow me at one point, but I kind of said, let's make sure that this is authentic.
No, I went where the money was. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
He went where the money was for him. I went where the money was for me.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Next.
So after we got in college, I went to Indiana. I went to graduate school, and wait a minute, tell me what time you snuck up to Tallahassee.
Now you have to tell everybody.
No.
Right.
No, you mean when my sister,
I wanna hear
when my sister,
I snuck up to Tallahassee to see me.
when my sister ran away, and I had to run away with her, because if I had stayed, they were gonna kill me if I didn't tell them where she was. So I had
We should share more over food.
yeah. So
Hold your peace.
So I had to run. And so we got away with it because they thought we were at one house and the other house thought we were at the other house, so they never knew we were missing that weekend.
Oh my God.
Wow.
No, let's not tell anymore. Honey, let's save it for the book.
Now, here's the marriage part. Here's the marriage part.
Okay.
I was in the Navy, right? I'm in the Navy in my first year in the Navy, and I got in January. I went through boot camp, Then I went to trade school. Mine happened to be music in Norfolk, Virginia, and I was there for 8 months actually. As a matter of fact, it was the same year that Disney World opened in Florida, because Disney World is celebrating 50 years this year, so are we. Because the end of that year, she called me on the phone, and she was so hurt and she was so sad and homely. I felt sorry for her. So
I don't.
after she asked me to marry her,
You need to stop.
I said, okay, I'm gonna come home and marry her.
They'll never know the truth if you got to tell them. I don't remember. Some kind of way, he said, at one point, he said, well, you know, we could live together. I said, a devil? I said, Ulysses Burton will not allow that, and we will not do that. And that's all I remember. But it was like, I don't know.
Well, anyway,
You know when you propose.
we got married. I came home that December. We got married, yeah, and we went back to Virginia together. I was living in this lady's house.
Oh, yeah.
A rooming
Y'all
house.
gotta hear this.
It was not a rooming house. It was at her actual house. But before, well, when I graduated from my Navy school, I was looking for a place to stay because I was in the Navy band and we were traveling all over the world. I mean, it was no place for me to try to build a house, but I just had to find a place to stay. And I found this lady that her sons were Navy men, but they were going on to different areas. And she had a house, and one of the guys down the street said, that lady down there might let you stay there. She used to let somebody else stay with them before. And I went down, the lady let me stay with her for $40 a month and said that I had to come in and be a family member. It was just her. She was a very old lady, Miss Wyatt.
Daisy Wyatt.
I took y'all there one time. Y'all were too little to remember.
Yeah,
We
I
went
remember.
back there to visit her because she was so nice. And she tried to get me to go and see, what's that, 700 Club or 500 Club?
700 club.
700 Club. And I wouldn't go, but she said, come in and be a part of the family. And she let me bring my wife with me. After I had been living there already, she let me bring my wife. So we came to Virginia. And that was one of the best things for us because we had no family members there. You know, if we had an argument or something went wrong, she just said, go to the other room. I had to go to the other room because there were no place, no friends there that we knew that we could hook up with. So it built our marriage. It built our marriage, you know, that having that foundation. So 4 years we were there living in Virginia and until her dad passed away. And I came back to Florida with her at that time. I only had a few months left in the military when her dad passed away. And I was there with her for the funeral and everything because she had to come back and be with him because he had cancer.
Cancer.
Yeah. And so then after that, we kind of, I came back to Florida. Didn't you stay with my mom for a while?
Yeah.
Yeah.
While my dad was sick,
So,
until you came back.
and then I came on back, and let me tell you something that might bless. This is not pretty much about the marriage, but when I was in Indiana, in the college, I was on drugs, messing around, you know, with drugs and things like that. Lord delivered me, hallelujah. But I was so high one night off mescaline that I went from my dorm over to the gymnasium, and some guys and I were shooting the basketball and everything, and they threw the ball at me and I missed it. I mean, I didn't even see it, and that's when I knew I was too high. I went back to the room and I was saying, Lord, if you bring me, didn't know the Lord, but I said, Lord, if you bring me down off this high, I will never go up again. Wow. And he said, in that particular moment, he said, you will find your future in your past. Get that? He said, you will find your future in your past. And I ended up going back to Sanford. And in Sanford was where I got saved. Lord saved me, cleaned me up, never touched a drug. Again, 43 years now, never smoked a cigarette, never snorted any coke.
No joints.
No nothing.
No women.
Cold turkey. Wow. Cold turkey, Lord. So that's why I knew I'm saved.
No bad dogs, just gonna look no.
No, none of that. None of that.
No white pills, blue pills, red pills.
So back to marriage. While we were in Virginia, married, at first she didn't have a job, but then she got a job teaching at
High school, First Colonial.
First Colonial High School, and making money. Now I'm on drugs at this time, right? And I knew I had enough sense to know that bring my money home to my wife because she could manage our funds better because I was out there strung out. I said, just give me enough to buy my drugs, and I'm okay. And so, but check this out. Here's the way the Lord works. Yeah. So when the Lord saved me, when the Lord saved me, what He did.
They hung up on that part right now. Can I, before you, this is why when I talk to my girls, and this is excluding Asha because she's already married, but sometimes girls can be extra hard on guys because they are not perfect. They don't measure up, and they don't do everything. But I had a pothead. I'm married. I was trying to tell him I'm married. He was a pothead when I married him.
Right, girl.
And look at him today.
Now that goes back to growth and fixed mindset.
Yeah.
What if she had a fixed mindset that I couldn't change?
Yeah.
None of y'all would have been here. Now what?
None of y'all would have been here. Now
Not you, not you,
Now what?
Because this year we were married 5 years before we had a young.
That's right.
So all this was going on during that period of time.
Right.
Yeah.
No, okay. So I mean,
So I was saying about the money piece because here's the way the Lord switched that thing. Now this was a Black Power age, civil rights movement, and most of us that were my age were involved in the Black Power movement. It was so critical at that time that it was that movement that had me to change my mind with my dad. I had never lived with my dad before, never. I knew him, but I had never lived with him, and I had these bad feelings for him because he never took time with me. He took time with my older brother, but then there was a brother younger than me. And then to add insult to injury, my dad had 3 families. He had 3 families. He had my family was first, and then he went to New York. Well, no, he had to have the other family in St. Petersburg the same time that he had my family because the guy in St. Petersburg that is my brother is the same age as I am. and that's a long story. I have to tell you that. But then he went to New York and he had 8 children.
8?
Yeah, so he had 8 there, then the 1 in St. Petersburg, and then the 3 brothers here. And I was in the middle. But I'm just saying this to say that we weren't on good terms in our lives. But during this civil rights movement, during the time I was in Virginia, he came to Virginia just to try to straighten out things between he and I. So that from that period on in life, he and I were all right because I began to understand that it could have happened to me. During that time, we were hollering about Black Power and what the white man was doing to the black men, and some of that, a lot of that was true. But it could have been me. It could have happened to me the same way. But I realized when he came and explained to me his side of the story, that black men were put in a certain position during that period of time, and they did the best they could with what they were dealing with. So I learned to love my dad after after that meeting, and from that point on till he died, we were okay. We made. Yeah.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying this session.
Right?
Okay. All right. So hold it. So then we're living in Virginia. We come back to Florida. And I get into this band. And I'm playing with this band called Pure Pleasure.
Your pleasure.
This band called Pure Pleasure. We were just traveling all over the state, playing and everything and getting high and all that was going on. And Ingrid stuck with me. I always say she stuck with me through the thick and the thin. And when it got thick, she didn't thin out.
Yeah.
She hung in there with me. Yeah. So this is how we got 50 years in. She said we were going to divorce somewhere between those 5 years.
Oh yeah.
Tell
If God hadn't saved you,
what was happening?
they wouldn't have been here. I told my friends, I said, I entertain. I said, I wanna serve God. I wanna be saved, but not before he gets saved. Because I'm not gonna be saved sitting at home and he's out there running around.
No, that's right, baby. I'm gonna do some running.
So, I'm not. Let him get saved first. Okay. And so he got saved.
I did.
He went to the tennis court and his friend Ronald Murphy, we call him Smokey. He was out there and Smokey said, I'm high on the Lord. High. When he said that caught his attention because he was getting high every day. And
so that was a Sunday morning. We were out on the tennis court, and he came out and said that Wednesday he had invited us to Bible study, and Ingrid and I went with us. And I had some Mexican marijuana, some Acapulco Gold, at home. And so you know how religious we are. I don't care whether we say no. We think we're religious. We think we know about the beast and everything. So I said I'm not gonna get high until after the Bible study. So I left at home. And I went home. I went to Bible study. Both of us went there, and I was convicted by the Lord. And Brother Murphy said, and I prayed. He said, no. He said, would you accept the Lord as your Savior? I said, no, I'll come back another day.
Wow. Because I still got that Acapulco.
that's right.
I got
Yeah,
something to do at home. So I'll come back another day. He said, let me pray for you. He prayed, and while he was praying, something happened. And I started crying.
Yes.
And next thing I know, I asked myself, ask me again. And he asked me again, and I accepted the Lord as my Savior. And I cried for 3 days. 3 days I cried. That Friday, I tried to smoke a cigarette and could not smoke it.
Yes.
That Sunday, I tried to smoke a joint and I could not do it. 43 years ago, I've never touched another cigarette, another joint, no alcohol. But this is about the 50 years.
So now you can go get saved now, Ingrid. Now you saved.
Yeah, I got saved after that.
Okay, turn it down. Okay, you done got saved now. Don't get this family started. You thought that was L'Oreal?
Real testimony.
I thought that was Lori sitting up
You
there.
look just
Before
alike.
we put the music on, we're going to close it out. We're going to close out with this. I wrote down some questions because we wanted to make sure that we shared with you what was really on our hearts.
Okay.
And one thing we wanted to do was ask you all to ask questions, put some questions in a container, and we would answer the question for you. But we don't know whether we're going to do that tonight. But I put down, tell them about a great event in the marriage that we had.
Ronnie, hey, I have a suggestion. Can we like first of all?
I don't want to get this out the way.
Also, an event. What now?
A great event that she can tell about in our marriage.
Like one of the
In
best
a-
times of
Yeah.
the whole
Yeah.
marriage. What can you think of? One of the best times. Aside from
You
your
want me to go
children.
first?
Yes.
All right, I'll go first. The best time, or one of the greatest moments in our marriage, was when Ayana was born, and I was in the hospital, and two things happened that I'll never forget. One was the fact that I cut the cord. The second one was that Ingrid was a Trojan. She was powerful. She had that baby. She kicked that baby. I was helping her, coaching. But the way what I saw her go through affected me for the rest of our marriage. I'm telling you, what I saw, and then I saw it happen to Asha. I cut her cord. Then I saw what happened to Jasmine. I cut her cord. They were all in 3 different cities: Sanford, Winter Park, Orlando. Orlando, Winter Park, and Sanford. But when I saw that happen, I think those were the most powerful moments that made me realize that, she did that for me, and for what she went through to have these children was powerful.
Beautiful.
I will never know what the pain was.
Very beautiful. Very beautiful.
That was the same thing I was thinking anyway. I felt the same way. I told him earlier today the birth of our 3 girls. I remember those, all 3. So, okay.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
I was so happy with her because when we got saved, a lot of people came through our house. Young girls, young men, and they came because we just opened our door to them. And it was always through me, but she never complained. She never complained through the years. I don't care how many people came through our house. She never complained, to the point that I gave her, in 2004, I gave her a dinner called Just Because.
Yeah.
Wasn't her birthday, wasn't our anniversary, anything like that. But we had about 200 people to come to the dinner.
You was there
Yeah.
when he got her that new car.
Oh, the Ultima.
Yeah, y'all were there.
Johnny was the baby.
Yeah.
No, EJ, who was the baby? 2004.
Lori.
I was a baby.
EJ was
Okay.
Yeah, 2004.
Wow, super serious.
Yeah. And all of them that came through the house came back there. They sang and they gave gifts to her. And we just treated, and I brought her family in from New York, her blood brothers and sisters and things like that, she never had met up with. She hadn't met her mom, her real mom. She didn't tell you that story because, she was adopted. And she had 3 moms.
Yeah, in my lifetime.
You like that shit?
No, that's in my book. That's
Was that
a
Boys
book.
and Girls
Oh,
Club?
That's a book.
you have to pay for that.
I remember that. That's Boys and Girls Club. I remember that.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a book. So I'll say that.
beautiful.
That's
We
bad
will
because
be
they
right
have
there
to.
to buy you.
Go ahead. What's next, honey?
I don't know how much, but.
Let's do your best.
Worst time. What was the worst time in our marriage?
I'm not gonna say that.
I'll say.
Okay, all right.
I think I remember one.
Y'all, I don't think y'all remember this one though.
All right, go ahead.
The worst time in our marriage for me, I put it like that, was when we lost the baby that came after you.
Oh, I remember that. After Joe? No, it was after me. I remember when
It
Usher.
was after me because
No.
we were going to
Because
school.
She
I
had
was
multiple.
at Red
That
Bull,
was after me.
and I didn't know what was going on.
But you had multiple because you had lost some before Usher.
That was Jasmine.
After Jasmine.
She lost kids before Usher, after Usher, after Jasmine.
But this I
When
think
she
did the
was
most
further
damage
on
to me
after
Yeah.
because I was expecting.
Oh yeah.
I was really expecting a baby. He had been prophesied,
Yeah.
and even down to a son, and all like this. And when I think she had to have the nurse to explain to me because I wasn't accepting it.
Oh.
So that was the worst time.
Oh.
I didn't hear that story.
You okay, Mom?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I think I was like about 3 or 4 months, maybe, because the school had found out, and everybody
I remember.
told people.
I told my teacher.
Yeah, right. Wow.
So why do you think you stayed with me this long? Since you love me.
Why did I stay? I mean, we got saved. God makes a difference. Love, the love that I have for you, it's got to be God's love. The ability to forgive. Now, people can forgive being saved or not. Some people have a forgiving spirit. Whether God saved them or not, they're easy to forgive. But when you get married, it's challenged to the max. Your capability, your ability to forgive. given certain situations. Just, I mean, and I'm not talking about infidelity. I'm talking about trusting the other person, their mistakes, how they handle things, what they do, how they talk to you on an off day. Like the other day. Okay. And,
She goes.
And here it goes.
What you
Yeah.
talk to me
okay, how they talk to you and all like that, your ability to forgive. You see, so, and I mean, I remember talking to God, you know, approaching God in my spirit, and he would say, well, when have you been so perfect toward me that you want me to run and rush and shape him up like you want him to be? How perfect are you? And I saw that I wasn't that perfect. I'm very flawed. So, you know, we sing the song, he looked beyond my faults and saw my needs. So I have to look beyond his faults and see his needs and vice versa. So God kept me there. And forgiveness. And I mean, real forgiveness, when it's like, you cut it.
Yeah.
When God actually helps you forgive somebody, it lifts a burden off of you and it's gone. So to the fact that, you know, I don't want to, I would never share anything bad to make him look bad. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't want to. It's done. It's forgiven. That's me in any other individual. If I've truly forgiven that person, I can look them in the eye. I love you, and it's just ain't nothing. Before it was a wall, but now that wall is just gone. So see, that's why I'm still married. Why we're still married. Because, you know, he doesn't like me. I don't like him that much. There are things we don't like about each other, but we are in love.
Yeah.
And that makes the difference. We're in love.
And your spirituality determines this.
Really?
If you
Really,
notice
really,
out of
really.
all that we were saying, it was our belief in God that changed everything about each other. And I was counseling a young fellow the other day, and I told him, I said, your marriage is based on your spirituality. Your marriage is based on your spirit. Because if you believe, first of all, like she was talking about forgiveness, if you believe that the word, then you know that you can't go nowhere with unbelief and unforgiveness. If you believe the word, you're not going to get anywhere with unforgiveness. You got to forgive so that God can forgive you.
Yeah.
You know, so that was like a huge piece in the 50 years. That's why I believe we're still here, is because of that. And I shared that with the young man just about a week ago. He called, you know, for counseling, and I told him, I said, the Lord spoke to me and told me to tell you that your walk with him is what's going to keep your marriage together. Your walk with God, because God is going to make you the head. He's going to have you to do it just like he wants it done. I could go into that very heavily, but I know y'all want to eat, you know. But I really want you to emphasize the importance of God directing you and directing your path. Because even when it came down to me giving her my money, once I got saved, God started shifting that thing. He started shifting it. He said, I want the man to be the head. The Bible said the man is supposed to be the head. You know, when God created man, that's the way he wanted the man to be the head. And he wanted that man to love his wife as Christ loved the church. You know, so if you don't know Christ, then you don't know how to love your wife like Christ loved the church. You know, so that's a big piece to marriage that I think has changed us. It's going to change every marriage when that man get into position with God and have that relationship. I found out that she will listen to me because she knows I'm getting it from God. You know, if I'm not getting it from God, if you're not getting it from as a man from God, they're not going to listen to you, Jay. You're not getting it from God. If you get it from God, I'm telling you, it's always going to work.
And respect also God. I mean, and respect will come along with that. And that's a big factor. If I respect him and he respects me, we are going to have boundaries and seek ways to compromise. You gotta compromise when you get married. You have to compromise. You can't just have it your way all the time. It has to be compromise.
So any questions?
I love it. Y'all hungry though, but I love it.
That's the question, dude.
No, it's not. There's always one of these. Go. I love the fact that, you know, because you said when you first got married, you would give her the money because you couldn't trust yourself.
Yeah.
But then when you got saved, God told you to handle it. And I love the fact how God just graced that whole situation for that particular season. And when he got you together, then he shifted it back to his order. That's amazing.
And that's exactly how it happened.
That's the word.
That's exactly how it happened because what he did was he started increasing my desire to handle the money. Because like I explained to you, this was during the Black Power movement and the white men were mistreating black women.
Yeah.
And if they are running if they're the head of a household and they're taking care of the business, she's got to go face the man.
Oh, yeah.
And so the Lord started changing me and saying, first thing he put in my mind, he said, I don't want my wife having to deal with the man. And so then I started getting better at handling money, and she was showing me how she did it. And then he started having her to lose the desire to handle the money.
Right.
So now her losing the desire and him increasing my desire to handle my house and leave my house, it brought us to what you just explained.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. That's awesome. Increase, decrease.
So now I handle finance.
That's right.
Well, God is good.
But God did.
Love it. Love it.
EJ, any questions?
Any questions, any comments? You want to have anybody else? Asha,
You guys ate that up?
give Asha the floor now.
Speaking of.
Oh, what else?
Asha, you may have the floor.
I'm ready to get married.